Dude, I have 3 little kids, so by the time I get home, my wife's going to be like bleeding. Her hair's going to be standing up.
All right.
Yeah, we just have one ourselves, and if it, we got to
You
watch
and
the
I have
time.
one.
Yeah, yeah, I got to watch the time a little bit myself because that's if it goes a little bit long, Alyssa starts texting me if it's like, especially if Riley's not sleeping well or something, gets rough. So
Yeah.
because she on Mondays she'll take Riley home, feed her dinner, entertain her for however long. And then like, if she doesn't sleep on top of that, it's like, it's pretty tough. So
Yeah, Laurel and I, we've got the Roomba at home has got it. We got to make sure that it's, on its charging station, right? And it's the closest thing we have. So.
What's your Roomba's name?
Rumor.
Rumor?
Yeah.
Ours is Tank.
Nice.
Because I wanted to name our son Tank, but my wife told me we couldn't name our son Tank, so the Roomba got named Tank.
Hey, that's
a good compromise.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. We take what we can get.
Yeah.
Good
You
deal.
know what I mean? Yeah. Well, Kev, you want to do an introduction?
Yeah. Geiges is how you say your last name, right?
Correct.
Today we have Derek Geiges, owner of Solid Rock Training, and man, good friend of ours. We've gotten to work with you with Triad, and man, always appreciate being able to come out and sample some stuff to your members and get to do some collaborative stuff with you. Mm-hmm. And man, you run a very, very well run business, and excited to talk to you a little bit more about that and get to know you a little bit more personally, man.
Absolutely, boys. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is going to be great.
yeah, good deal.
This is going to be probably the first full episode that my mother-in-law watches. So, hello, Tina. I love you.
Hi, Tina.
So I will keep my cussing to a minimum.
Tina's watching. I'm gonna,
Yeah, we're all
straight
probably
laced.
all going to have to.
What do you mean? We don't ever cuss.
Yeah, that's right. This was a test, and you passed it. So good job.
Good deal. Well, I will tell everyone who I am, and we can just go ahead and jump into
Go
it.
for
My name's
it.
Derek Geiges. I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina. What brought me to Oklahoma was got recruited to wrestle at OU. Wrestled there in college.
That's a big deal.
Yep. Met my wife. She was a gymnast. She was a better athlete than I. So she locked me down.
Gymnast at OU.
Yeah.
That's a big deal too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they won 3 national titles when she was there. So
Jeez.
No big deal.
I didn't do what much.
What years was she?
Man, you got to put me on the spot now. 2013 to 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
We another friend of ours, I think she was probably before your wife, but Sean Vasquez's wife, Jess, was a cheerleader at OU. So
Oh, nice.
I guess cheerleader, gymnast, are there 2 separate things or
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like pom, cheerleader.
Yeah.
There's a.
I think she might have
there's
been
several
a
of them.
gym. I can't remember. She was a gymnast. I think she was a gymnast.
That's a big deal. They're very, yeah.
It wasn't not a cheerleader, gymnast. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You just offended a lot of people.
I'm so sorry. Ryan, please cut that.
You actually might want to cut that.
Yeah. We'll make it out.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, OU's gymnastics team is crazy good, like crazy good. But also, kudos to you. OU's wrestling team is crazy. I knew you'd wrestled at OU, but that is like, it's still nuts. Yeah. So, how was wrestling in high school for you? I think that's probably a decent place to start. Obviously, you did well.
Yeah. So actually, funny story. I didn't start wrestling until I was a freshman in high school, and I lived an hour away from my high school. And the kid down the street who was a senior, he was my ride to school. So I carpooled with him, and he was a 2-time state champ, was going to UNC Chapel Hill to wrestle after that year. And I would have to sit there and wait after wrestling practice to be done for him to give me a ride home.
Right.
So I just decided, you know what? Like, I have this time. I'm just going to start wrestling.
Why not?
And I had an older brother who just beat the crap out of me as a kid and made me really tough. And my dad made me work really hard as well. So it was a blue collar sport. So if you have a work ethic and you're tough, you're going to be pretty successful. Mm-hmm. So just growing up in the country, like, I just had country boy strength. So it came natural to me.
Sure.
Did well in high school, was highly recruited coming out of high school. And then obviously got recruited to OU, some other schools. I was down to Virginia Tech, OU, and Wisconsin, but the head assistant coach at the time for OU kind of sealed the deal for me. He was a stud at like the weight class that I wrestled, so
Nice.
I wanted to go wrestle for him. And then when I got to college, I just had a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, man, I'm going to go there. I'm going to smash those dudes. Like, I'm going to be an All-American national champ within my first 2 years. And I just remember my first practice in college. I wrestled with a kid named Kendrick Maple, who was a national champ for OU, and he just beat the brakes off me. Like, I went back to my dorm room and just cried for like 45 minutes. Yeah,
right.
just like I'd never gotten a butt whooping so bad in my life. And I remember calling my high school coach, and I was like, dude, what did I do? I'm like, I am not who I thought I was. But, he was just very encouraging in that moment. And he was like, you know what, Derek, no matter what happens or the success you do or don't have in college, he was like, you got the life lesson from wrestling. He was like, taught you discipline, taught you hard work. Because of that, you're going to be a great husband someday, great dad. And there were just a lot of things from the sport of wrestling that I feel like has led to my success to this point.
Absolutely.
So, just really grateful for that. And I had a pretty good career. I started here and there. I would say I was like a 500 wrestler. Like I was never an All-American or anything like that, but I did pretty well. I wrestled a bunch of different weight classes. I think I might hold the NCAA record for the most weight classes wrestled in college. So I was recruited, and I was still growing when I came to college. I wrestled 133, what I was recruited at. And then above that's 141, 149, 157, 165, 174. My freshman and sophomore year, I wrestled 133, and then I was having a hard time keeping my weight down. And so I was like, guys, I got to go up in weight or I'm going to quit wrestling. Like I was just malnourished. I was wrestling terrible and everything like that.
Yep.
So I went up 3 weight classes the next year, but I was having trouble making the weight class above that the remainder of the year. Then I went to the next weight class and all that. And then they bumped me up to wrestle some other weight classes. So I don't know if anyone's wrestled that many weight classes.
Seriously?
Yeah, but it was good.
That's
so
crazy.
I just, I don't know, kind of had that gunslinger mentality.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to go out there and let it fly. Like, what do you got to lose?
That's
so,
right. That's right. That's, I think there's a bunch of really interesting stuff there. Like, but I think one is like, obviously we've talked about this. We had Tom George on, who does QB Impact and does a lot of like high school football, quarterback training and just stuff like that. And, the story I always tell, because I think it's a good one, is when I was in high school playing football, I think it was like might have been my freshman year of football, like sophomore year maybe. We were playing in the playoffs, and we were going against this kid who played for outside of like Raymore Peculiar, which is like right outside of Kansas City, and Ray Peck is always very good at football, or at least was at the time. And their quarterback threw for like 400 yards, like 3 or 4 touchdowns, ran himself for like another 200 and like another 2 touchdowns, beat us like 63-10, like just spanked us. And like he ended up going to Nebraska to play football. And this is when Nebraska was good still. Like never touched the field. And so like first and foremost, to like ever be a starting OU wrestler is crazy. Like that is like such an accomplishment. Like that's so tough. And you just realize, like thinking about like that first day that you talked about, it's just like you get there and you realize that especially in D1 athletics, but in any athletics like that, like this is like the stud of not just every high school that that this kid played for, or this kid like wrestled for, or whatever. It's like this is the studs of the studs of the studs who like made it there. And so one, like kudos to you to just like to one, get there in the first place, but two, to like get out there and start and wrestle a bunch of different weight classes. Like it's crazy. That's such an accomplishment.
Yeah. And you look back on it, I think like the biggest thing for me, so I was like one of those guys, like in practice, I was a world beater. Like kids that would go out and compete a lot better than me, they were just better gamers when it came time to competition. And like, there's a great book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and that's just changed my whole perspective in life and in business. If I would have read that book, I think when I was an athlete, I would have had a lot more success, because I I would say, a scarcity mindset. Once I reached a certain level of success, I was afraid to lose, and I was wrestling not to lose versus having an abundance mindset and a growth mindset, because it became my identity versus having that, white belt mindset where you're just constantly putting yourself out there. You're not afraid to fail and afraid to grow. And honestly, that was probably one of the best life lessons I learned from the sport and has helped me in life to this day.
Yeah.
And, a couple of different businesses that I run right now, but, super grateful for the opportunity.
We had a sports psychologist on recently, and we could not get off the topic of like, man, if I would have had just like a slightly different mindset or been just a little bit smarter about a couple of things when I was an athlete or, playing in high school or whatever it was like, man, I would have been so much better. So, but it's tough to learn those lessons. Like, I don't know, like, even like, especially coming from like your parents, it's like hard to take seriously or fully grasp until you like actually experience those things. So going back to the experience where the kid beat the brakes off of you, do you feel like that was generally good, at least for like your wrestling or your college career? Do you think that was good or hindered you, that being your first experience?
Looking back, I think it hindered me. So I'm a firm believer. Like if I were to go coach, wrestling or something like that, you need to put kids or an individual in a position where they're going to realize like, hey, they're not the best and they're going to get beat up on a little bit, but I believe you have to protect an athlete's confidence. And I feel like there's a lot of great athletes who get their confidence hurt and they never get it truly back. And I think that happened to me some in college. I just started to lose that belief because when I was in high school, I was like, bro, there's no one going to beat me. Like I'm just like gonna go out there, and I was free. I wrestled and competed very free versus very like tight and anxious. So I would say it probably hindered it, a little bit looking back. So
I know, I think that would have had the same effect, but yeah, maybe could have used a little bit of humbling, but not so much kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Absolutely. So yeah, after wrestling in college, my degree was in criminology, so it wasn't even in health and exercise science. I actually became a Norman police officer.
Did you really?
So I was a cop in Norman for a couple years.
How was that experience?
It was good and bad. So I will elaborate a little bit. So ton of life experience, as a 21, 22 coming out of college, like I got so much life experience. I think everyone needs to do a ride along, and most people have no idea how a city works. But I just got so much life experience, and I had to do a lot of growing up because there was a lot of things in my life that, roadblocks and obstacles that were removed that I had to just figure it out when I was a police officer. One of my supervisors told me, he was like, Derek, you're a professional problem solver. That's what you're going to do. Because I'd come to him with questions when I first started. He's like, just figure it out. Just figure it out. So Google helped me a lot when I was on the job. So, man, it was such a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But there were just a lot of things that I realized, like, this is not what I want to have a career in. And I was doing personal training on the side. And
out of like a certain gym, or like just one-on-one, or was it like more?
I was actually doing it out of the OU wrestling room. So
really?
I was training people there and kind of just all over like apartment gym and stuff like that. So just
wherever you had equipment.
Yeah, just slinging it. So was doing that here and there, and I actually started Solid Rock back in the state of South Carolina where I'm from.
Really?
And my wife and I were engaged at the time, and I was like, hey, this is going to give me a year to get a business rocking and rolling, which looking back now, a year seems so short. I'm just going to be killing it in a year. Dude, we're going to be crushing it,
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be so successful.
That's a conversation we have to have with a lot of employees. We're like, man, we're hoping to do this within the next year. And they're like, a year from now? And I'm like, a year's going to get here so quick.
I remember us being like, we could start a car lot. I don't know about all that.
Oh, man.
We're smarter than we used to be. We'd be more prepared to do it now, but we also know we probably couldn't do that.
Right.
So then started the business there, and I was getting everything rolling, looking for a place to lease, putting, my budget together, my business plan and all that stuff. And my college roommate is actually partners with another local entrepreneur who owns Ideal Homes, some other like home building companies and things like that. And I coached his son when I wrestled at OU. He was a big wrestler, and him and I just got lunch one day, and he was like, "Hey, man, I got this awesome facility out here. Like, I think it would be a great opportunity." And essentially, I was able to start like debt free, and he was like, I'll take a percentage of what you make up to a cap. So I'll work up to that cap, and then my rent would be at that cap. So it's not like I was just like sweating, starting from zero to 100 real fast. So
what a great deal! That's an awesome first landlord to have.
Yeah. So it was definitely a blessing, and I'm a believer. I think it was a God thing, and just a great opportunity. And I was able to like slowly build it. We started in, I would say, about 800 square feet. And I was just doing personal training in there, training athletes, doing speed agility, just doing whatever I had to do to make money at that point in time. And I did not understand business or systems or anything. I just knew I liked working out and training people. And, there were nights I slept on the gym floor when I was in there. I'd get up I'm like, you can train at 4 a.m. and you can pay me X amount of money. I'll train you at 4 a.m. Sally wants to train at 5. Billy Bob wants to train at 7. I would train people at 9 o'clock. So I was literally training from 4 to probably 9:30. No systems, training people at lunch, taking naps in the gym.
Early on, I think that's what it takes, man.
It does. So, and I just had no systems, which I'm so big on systems now. And, my best friend from high school, we always talked about starting a gym together. So I did that for about 6 months, and then I convinced him to move out after about 6 months. And he went to college with Truett Cathy's grandson, Luke Cathy, who's the founder of Chick-fil-A. Truett was the grandpa who started Chick-fil-A. So he actually worked for Chick-fil-A corporate for like 2 or 3 years. So they're very big on systems. So he moved out, and we started implementing systems, and he started educating me on business stuff. And it just started to grow. And we stayed at that facility, which was all like horse stables and a barn, blew all that out, remodeled it, made the gym area, which I think we're like 3,600 square feet now, roughly.
Nice.
But yeah, just, it's always better before bigger. I think Truett was in a thing called the Dwarf House, which was like I'm going to say 1,000 square feet until he was maybe 40 years old. And just kept perfecting his recipe, dude.
Right.
And then look at Chick-fil-A now.
Right.
It's insane. A lot of people just think, just because someone's experiencing success early on, everyone's journey is different, and it's going to look completely different. So I always say comparison is the thief of joy. So don't worry about what everyone else is doing, but just stay in your lane, focus on what you're doing, and just moving the needle a little bit here and there, and opportunities are going to present themselves.
We had a lot of people always asking, especially with our first location, of when's the next one coming, especially as we'd see an uptick in our growth, and we'd hit kind of another level of like how well we were doing. And it was just we didn't really seriously start looking at another location until we felt confident that we can take what we've done and replicate it, because it was, a lot of the same thing. It was so much trial and error at the beginning. It was like, we kind of understand generally like how to get people in the door and sell supplements. It was definitely, we knew a lot more about like how to help people once they were in the door, and a lot less about how to get them in the door. But it was about 5 years of just constantly trying different things and working to build a little bit more of a system of how do we get people in here. And then once we felt confident with like, okay, we've kind of perfected and we've shown that we can do it time and time again with this one location, get people in and treat them right and get them to come back, is when we started to finally feel confident. So it was, we were essentially kind of busting at the seams at that one location, where it was the only way that we're going to be able to like really continue to be able to grow is to service another market and increase our footprint. So
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think like even with the fitness industry, people are like, more locations, you got to have more locations, and the more locations you're successful. We were getting ready to open a second location right before COVID happened, right in the Nichols Hills area, right by that old Hideaway, if anyone knows where that is, kind of across from Trader Joe's, right there. Luckily, we had not signed a lease yet. COVID hit, and it just kind of kicked us in the teeth, and it just ate up a lot of the income that we had saved to open that second location. But I think it was a blessing in disguise, because we were able to change some of our systems, our processes, procedures. Our product got a heck of a lot better during that time. The profitability of the business got a heck of a lot better.
Nice.
We just started operating a lot more lean and mean, and it was a hard time because my wife got laid off at her job. They canceled her contract. She worked for a company called Stryker, which is like a medical device company, at the hospital, and the gym was shut down for 2 months essentially. So I was like just hoping, praying people wouldn't cancel their gym memberships.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, we'll do whatever we got to do.
When you got a tight knit community, though, man, they'll stand by you in times like that, man. Which is why I'm sure you're still here today, man, because the amount of attention and yet you give to every single person that's a member at SRT is unbelievable. I mean, we've seen you in action, man, and you know everything about everybody that comes in the door, it seems like. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that. We've worked very, very hard on it. And my business partner at the time, he was like, dude, culture and community eat strategy for breakfast, especially in the fitness industry, I would say, in a boutique fitness industry. And it depends on when you're trying to scale, because at scale, it looks completely different. Sure. But yeah, that was the time during COVID, and we made it through COVID. And my business partner, the whole time, he wanted to just like open a ton of locations. He was like, we need proof of concept. There was a guy named Bedros Cooling. Are you guys familiar with Bedros? Started Fit Body Boot Camp. Okay. He's like with Andy Frisella and all those guys. Okay. One of the dudes in that sphere right there. But we were going through a mentorship program with him, and he was like, you guys got to have proof of concept and all this stuff. But I honestly saw like what that looked like, and I didn't really want that, and that's something that he wanted. And he stood by my side. He was like, you know what? He was like, I'll help you get through COVID. We'll get this ship right, rocking and rolling. So he stayed a whole extra year to devote to the business, and then I bought him out at the end of that year. Nice. And he moved back to Charleston, South Carolina, and is in a startup there now, and they're growing and doing great things. And obviously, we butted heads on some things, but he's still one of my best friends to this day, and we have a great relationship. Yeah. So us being in business together was good. We had a lot of success. We learned a lot, but one of the most fruitful things was for us to go our separate ways. And so, that happened, and I've been running it. I want to say that was 21, 22, like getting into 22-ish when I ended up buying him out. And then just been moving and grooving ever since. I personally don't want to go open a bunch more locations, because I know what that takes and what that looks like from a micro gym or boutique, whatever you want to call it. And I know the economics of that business model kind of in and out, because I've just traveled around the country, talked to a bunch of owners, just networked, and just to scale that is not attractive to me per se. Another business that I started is just investing in real estate. So real estate's very attractive to me. Fitness is like my passion and my love. I love building relationships and people, but that's a business that I'm like growing and, placing a lot of emphasis as well when I'm not inside the four walls of the gym. So
that's a good balance between the two. Yeah. Man.
Had any terrible tenants?
Dude, this one guy was...
Wait a minute. Laurel technically leased, not me.
This one girl's boyfriend.
Oh my gosh, he was the worst.
Man, it's just like anything though, but I just love business. I love entrepreneurship. People look at me and I think the community and everyone thinks Derek's the fitness guy. Yes, I love fitness, but dude, I just love systems and problem solving. And how can we make something more efficient, leaner, and develop the culture and all that? Because the rental property business is that's it, man. You hear all these stories about people that are mom and pop landlords, and they don't have systems, and they're burnt out and they're tired and they're exhausted. But if you can figure out the right
toilets.
Yeah, if you can figure out the right systems and the right processes, man, it can be a great, great thing.
Yeah.
Just like the fitness business. So I feel like we have a really good process, good recipe. I'm always making it better, always tinkering with it, but not tinkering to the degree where I'm just like a hindrance to the business. Because at a point in time, I was just trying to do too many things. So
we've been there too.
Yeah, and I'm just, when you say yes to something, you say no to something else. So
Dude.
even in my our marriage with my wife, we're like, dude, we're just in a season of saying no right now. We're just going to say no to a lot of things.
What's that rule? It's like 80% of your results is based off of 20% of your work. So 80% of what you're doing, you could probably throw to the side. I've gone through seasons of that where it's like, I need to get rid of a lot of what I'm doing because it's probably not producing a whole lot of results. So
yeah.
Well, and I think, kind of going back to what you were talking about, like, I thought you said something really good, and I think you were quoting somebody when you said it, but the, I think your business partner, when you said, community and culture eat strategy for breakfast.
I like that one a lot.
I do too. And I think that that's like one of the things that I appreciate about you, especially in this situation, is like, I'll be honest, I struggle to find a gym culture that as strong as SRT is. Like the household names of people who go to SRT, they are live, breathe, die SRT. They love it. And one of the things that can happen, and one of the things that I know that we're constantly combating and putting a ton of effort into and making sure with processes and things like you're talking about is to not lose our culture, not lose our community, not lose who we are as we scale. Because as you get bigger, it's no longer Kevin behind the counter anymore. He can't be there. He can't be everywhere. He's got to be here.
It's no longer employees that are working with me behind the counter.
Right. It's anymore. Everybody's twice removed, and so it becomes really difficult, and you have to put in a ton of time and a ton of effort and training and processes and things to maintain that culture. And so, knowing how strong the culture and the community is at SRT, it's like I can tell you value that more than having more locations. And I think that's a super cool thing.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, they're like, or I'll ask them, I'm like, what business do you think I'm in? They're like, oh, you're in the fitness business. I'm like, no. I'm like, we're in the relationship business. People will quit a membership, but they're less likely to quit a relationship. And I know in fitness, people need to stay in it for X amount of time with our programming and the way we do things to actually get results, to actually change and transform their lives. And that's part of the problem with the boutique fitness industry. It's very volume based, selling a lot of memberships, but you have a very, very, very big churn. Where what we have found out is, most fitness gyms, they market to the very fit 30-year-old, 20-year-old female and or male, and they do a really poor job of serving the people that need it the most. And I believe there's niches inside of the fitness industry. It depends what you're doing, but for what we do, I'm like, man, the 30 to 60-year-old person who just wants to live an active life outside of the gym, the active aging population who wants to go on a hike with their kids, wants to go on a weekend ski trip with the boys, or go wakeboarding, or just live an active life, man.
Run around with their grandkids. Yeah,
and just help those people get strong and move really well. They're going to feel a lot better versus just punching them in the face every time they come into the gym, and just building a really solid base of strength and fitness. They're going to stay a lot longer. They're going to get better results. And if they stay longer, they're going to develop more relationships with people. And I think our secret sauce for our culture and community is our retention. I would argue
100%.
There might be one or two other gym owners I've talked to around the country who have the amount of retention or the retention rate that we have. So,
I think you bring up a good point, and it almost reminds me, like it draws parallels to the story that you told earlier, where, you're not just, there's that, it's less now than it used to be, but it used to be you hired a personal trainer and they would just kick the crap out of you. Like they'd hurt you. You know what I mean? Like they would push you to the point of like, I want you to be so sore tomorrow that you knew you got the best workout you've ever had, kind of thing. And similarly to, like your wrestling story, and people lose confidence in that. And similarly, like as, doing jujitsu myself, when it's someone's first day, don't go over there and beat the crap out of them. They're never going to come back. They're never going to want to. They're never going to have you let them dance. You let them have fun. You make it like an inviting place. And so I think that's I can definitely see parallels there where it's like you're making this like a great workout. I've done them many times. I've trained over there many times with you guys, but it's like they're great workouts. You're getting a lot done. And it's not to break you down into being like you're going to be sore. Of course, it's a great workout, but it's also structured, and you make the workouts in a way that are very functional and make a lot of sense. And they're not just there to like beat you down. They're there to like make you functional, make you be able to move, make you to be able to feel better, all those kind of things, thus building the confidence into people and keeping that retention rate up, where it's like, if you went into a place and it was the first day and it's just the hardest workout you've ever had in your life, like, and you didn't come with a friend who already trains there or something, it's like, how are the chances you're coming back?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't feel like it's super high. You know what I mean? So I feel like you and your coaches do a super good job of being really interactive with your class too, of like, hey, scale that down, or hey, let's get bigger weights. Like, you know what? You're ready for more. Like, let me push you, and then let me, I know over here, like, when you're doing push-ups or something, and I know you're struggling, I'm going to motivate you, but I'm not going to be like, come on, like, you're not like screaming at people. And I think like that offers such a good balance for one, just the demographic that you're looking at, but also just in general. I think it's just like a really solid way of putting together a gym to one, keep retention, because you understand that like, one crazy, I'm going to run you into the ground workout isn't going to do nearly as much as a really good, appropriate workout is going to do day after day after day, month after month after month, year after year after year for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fitness industry to the general public has lied to most of them. It's a more is better approach. Burn more calories, do more, do more, do more. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you never arrive in fitness. I'm like, man, my mindset, I'm going to work out till I'm dead. Like, if I live to be 100, dude, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing pull-ups,
right.
I'm going to do some squats, some lunges. Like, you never arrive. So why punish yourself when you're in the gym? Or maybe you drank too many adult soda pops over the weekend, or you ate too much Raising Canes or whatever it was, and you come in on Monday and you just throttle yourself. I have to have those conversations with people like, you're not playing the long game. If you play the long game, you can't lose.
That's right.
You don't quit, you can't lose.
That's right.
So that's got to be the mindset for people.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the balance between like having the gym and the real estate too, where I feel like you got the real estate side of things where it's like you can just go full bore on scaling and systems and be like full like business mindset, where the gym is like, man, you really get to be there and like and nurture the culture, man. And it's like, and you talk about multiple locations, and I think that's the thing, like, dude, surface level multiple locations like look super cool to like customers and members and friends and family member and whatnot. It's an appearance of scaling, but like they don't see what your retention is, what your sales are. It's like, would you rather have, one location doing, $40,000 a month, or 4 locations doing $10,000 a month? It's like, obviously that's the same amount, but like one rent check is a whole lot cheaper than 4. So.
Yeah. Less fires to put out, less headache. And dude, I know so many guys that quote unquote look like they're successful in business, look like they're killing it, and it's just stroking their ego. They're doing something to impress others, but secretly, like deep down inside, they're depressed, they're struggling, they're having a hard time, make ends meet at home, but their businesses look like they're thriving.
Surface level growth as opposed to actual growth.
There's a big difference, and I think a lot of people live their life to impress other people versus living a life true to themselves. So
man, I feel like that's, and again, like big kudos to you for like having that balance. I'm almost kind of jealous because it's like I miss being at the one location, because I feel like I could like really have my hand on everything and really like have like a big influence on our culture and our employees and the customers and whatnot. And it's definitely got more difficult, and we've had to really lean on systems. We've been, especially with Thomas stepping into the GM position, we have been hammering systems recently. It's actually been really, really fun on that side of things. But man, I feel like when you get to be in that spot where you have that influence, and then build your systems around that, and then grow not just your, the income from the business, but grow the retention as well. If that's nailed down, then that's where you get to 4 locations doing $40,000 a month kind of deal, as opposed to 4 doing 10. So that's where you become the Chick-fil-A, which I like that chat a lot. Their drive-through lines are phenomenal. So,
Every time I go there, I'm just like, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Like my business mind is just like, dude, how do they do it? And how, like people, I think one of the recipes too is consistency, man. Like a lot of people go to Chick-fil-A. I honestly don't think their chicken is the best fried chicken. It's good, but man, you get such a consistent experience. It's quick. And I'm like, it's incredible.
I always really like there was an analogy that it was in some book or something that some like business professor who had owned businesses in the past he said, hey, I'd like everybody to raise their hand that think they can make a better hamburger than you'd get at McDonald's. Like half the class raised their hand. Like, yeah, I could do something better than McDonald's. Okay, well then why do they have so many locations? If like half the people in this room can make a better one,
Right.
It's their systems.
Yeah. And convenience too, you know,
convenience.
convenience is a big one. So, yep. So, I just forgot my next question. I don't even know.
Man, getting into systems a little bit, what was that transition like going out on your own, man? Was once your original partner left, I went through a very similar experience myself with a couple of partners in our first couple of years, and got out on my own in 2018. Very, very good relationship with those two guys still. I got to see him at Thomas's wedding and bachelor party and like good friends with them. I don't know if people realize how tough it is having business partners. But it was a very interesting experience to go from that to being on my own. And I'd like to hear your experience. Was there a lot that you implemented or changed or?
So like going back to actually getting in partnership together, I think there was a big benefit. That's why I did it. Like we both had something we could bring to the table to help the business grow. But if I look back on it, like why did we stay in partnership? Looking at the economics and what I know now about the business, we just didn't know. We were just young and dumb, to be honest. It didn't make sense to have a partner in that business model, especially for a single location operator. But some of it was fear of why, like I didn't want to buy him out. I honestly didn't want to spend that amount of money to buy him out. Like it was a big chunk of change to me at the time. And then, it all comes back on my shoulders. And now, like, as I've matured and grown, like every time I feel uncomfortable, I don't want to do something, it's oftentimes the thing I need to do, even though it's painful. And it's usually because I'm going to have to work harder or dedicate more time. So there was some fear that was involved. But man, it was one of the best decisions for him and for me. So it was a challenging time. But man, it made me work harder, and I'm at my best personally when my back's against the wall and I got to figure things out. And that's when I actually love work the most, and I'm the most fulfilled as a man. I'm probably the best as a husband, a dad, a friend, and stuff like that, versus when things are on autopilot. Like I need a challenge. I need the struggle, or else I'm just kind of going with the flow.
I was just talking to Alyssa about this recently. She was explaining, we were just on our way home the other day, and we were talking about just the last few days. Like last week was just a roller coaster of like really good news and then really bad news and then really good news and then really bad news. And it was like this is just, it's sometimes like hard to handle and I had another friend that owned a gym in Edmond for a while that explained being in business it's not necessarily just better or worse. It's just bigger ups and downs. And my wife, Alyssa, said that, yeah, but at the same time, because those big highs are so high and we get to watch it compound on itself, there's a whole lot more fulfillment in being involved with something like this as opposed to just simply working a 9 to 5. And I agreed with that a lot. So,
yeah. I am very impact driven and need to be fulfilled. So like I could never be employed again. Knowing what I know now, I would be the world's worst employee. Cause like, man, I think so many thoughts. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and like, I'll take a note on my phone of like an idea or something. It's just a problem. Like my mind cannot shut off. And I have learned to contain that, but yeah, man, you got one life. I feel like most people just try to play it safe, pay bills, and get by. And you know what? Like, that might be okay for them. And they might be happy with that. But for me,
sometimes I'm jealous of that.
Yeah. You know what? And my wife has said that to me before. She's like, man, it would just be so easy if you worked a 9 to 5, especially when we were struggling and I was trying to figure things out. Like things are just really smooth right now, but I'm sure, we'll have some hiccups or things will change. Like I own all residential real estate. One of my big goals is to buy a commercial property and have like a health complex, like businesses that benefit. So like a Triad,
Heck yeah.
as an anchor tenant, and then a Solid Rock.
Well, hold on. How was he as a landlord, Thomas?
And think,
well, no, great. Everything was good.
so, that would be the next step for the gym aspect of things. Just continuing to make our service offering better, provide a more premium experience for our members, maybe add some amenities and things like that. But just serving people really well. And then I think the real estate's going to take care of itself. It's going to take some time, but we're going to figure it out.
Heck yeah, man.
Real estate's expensive in Norman, especially on the commercial side.
Is it growing? Like, is it a growing market? Like, are things getting more expensive there, like most places?
I would say yes. Norman's just weird, man. I just feel like a lot of people can't agree on things. Like some people are very pro-growth, some aren't, so it causes a lot of stagnation in the marketplace. So, but I feel like Moore's growing like crazy right now. Like Moore's done a ton of development. So
yeah. And you said all residential. Are you guys doing like rental properties? Are you flipping any at all? Or
nope, not flipping. I just buy and hold.
Okay.
And like when I first started, I would buy like properties that really needed to be fixed up, and we would rehab the properties. I would not do the work. I'm not that handy. And then, which was going to add value to it, I'd get an appraisal on it. Then I'd put a tenant in there and rent the property, and then it would just increase in value, and just pay down our mortgages that way. And then, as time has gone on, we've built wealth and just time in the market. We've just bought nicer properties over time. So
less work to be put in.
Less work. Yeah. I just focus mainly on a 3-bed, 2-bath house is like my niche right now in a good school district, mainly Southwest Oklahoma City, more not far from my house. If anything happens, I can run over there or meet with people. The one you lived in was actually the first one we ever bought. So
was it really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it was not a 3-bed, 2-bath.
It was.
It is not a 3-bed, 2-bath.
It was a triplex, but
yeah. It's great though. No, we loved it. It was being right by the plaza. Like it was great. Like we could walk places. It was we never had any issues. No, it was always really nice. Like you can tell it's like a like a converted into it, but it's like, but no, honestly, it was really nice. You know what? Underrated about that house that I think taught Laurel and I something that we will want to have for the rest of our lives is they had a washer and dryer stacked unit in the closet. So it's a walk-in closet at this house, and there's a stacked washer and dryer in the closet. There is nothing greater on this earth, I think, than like you're like changing clothes and you're just like right in the wash. Like the washer's right there. You don't have to walk to another room, nothing.
Dude, and I actually never thought about that. That was there when we got there.
It's perfect.
When we bought it. So it was like that was already set up in a done deal.
And you're like literally, when you're folding or hanging up clothes, like the dryer is right there. You just open it, pop a hanger on it, and hang it right in front of your face. It's great.
There you go.
It's so great.
Our house right now is that was one of my the things I was most excited about is our like washer dryer room is like there's a little door that connects to our closet.
Yes.
So not that convenient, but very close.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Man, going back to systems a little bit. Is there one system like you're like most hyped about with SRT or on the commercial or the real estate side of things that you've implemented and it's just like really worked like really, really well? Because like I'm sure if you're anything like us, you've implemented systems before. Some seem to do decent, some fail miserably, and we toss it out. And others are like, that one worked even better than we were hoping. Is there any that you have like that?
Yeah, hopefully I'm not all over the place on this one. So simple scales. If you're trying to grow a team and an organization, the simpler you can make things, the more consistent of an experience the consumer's going to have. So I would say just in general, like the big thing is like, how do we make things as simple as possible and not overcomplicate it? Because we can have all the ideas in the world, but if we can't execute at a high level, it's not going to do anything. So I would say that. And then the biggest system we created, and this might be disingenuous to some people, but I'm a firm believer you have to create a system to actually execute on something, is we created this system. My business partner came up with the idea. It's called Fanatic Care. So people within our community, if someone has a loss of a loved one, we have a system and a 3 bullet point process that's going to happen of how that person is going to get served. If someone gets married, someone has a baby, someone gets a medical diagnosis or something like that. That's one thing that's near and dear to my heart, and I believe has helped build our culture of why we're different as an organization, because we actually freaking care. And it's just all about actually caring about people. But if we don't build the system, the ball gets dropped, and then Sally gets the Fanatic Care here, and then Billy Bob didn't get it, and Billy Bob's going to be upset because he didn't get it. And we haven't been perfect. We've missed things. We usually find out, honestly, when someone posts something on social media, we overhear someone talking in the gym. And we have a budget created for that as a business, and the team knows, like, hey, this is our budget for it. And there's also another thing that relates to that. So we hear someone say, like, how do you create a remarkable experience for someone? Another system we have is if someone's talking in the gym, like, man, I really want, AirPods. I've never had AirPods or something. Like, part of our budget for that month, we might just get AirPods and surprise that person.
That's cool.
And give it to them. But you got to create that margin in the business because it makes you different and it makes you stand out.
It's nice to have that budget in the first place too, where it's like, we've got X that we can confidently spend. That way, if something pops up, it's not is this worth it? Can we afford it? Kind of deal. It's like, nope, it's already worked in. That's a super cool thing to do. Let's do it.
Yeah, and it's a non-negotiable too. So like the money's the money. We're not going to cut back on that. Like it is what it is. Gosh, there's a great book. I cannot remember the name of it. I have it on my phone, but my phone's over there. But it's about the best restaurant in the world, and it just talks about how they created all these remarkable systems. Before we get out of here, I'll share it with you guys.
Yeah, please do.
It's a really good book.
Yeah.
I like restaurant references a lot, or parallels a lot.
Yeah, just hospitality stuff in general. Because I think we've had a good friend of ours, Andrew Guerrero, on, and he has worked in the hospitality industry for years. He started and ran restaurants, helped start hotels, like all sorts of stuff. And that's one of the things that he always gave us, when he was on the podcast and just when we talked to him at other times, like he's always been very complimentary of us and how we do things is like we run the supplement store like a hospitality business, not like a retail business. Like we try to take care of people. Like you said, it's so funny, right? Because people ask all the time, or will ask me. I'm sure Kevin gets it all the time. Everybody, I'd say Alyssa if she went in public, but like,
but she doesn't.
She doesn't. So, hey, she went to Jimmy's Egg today. Shout out Alyssa. She got out. But
she wouldn't even go next door to get Riley.
But is like people ask like, oh, like, why do you feel like Triad is successful, or why do you feel like SRT is successful, or why do you feel like Chick-fil-A, another example, is successful? They care. I wish it was like it's to a point sometimes where I like talk to people where it's like, I wish it was a sexier answer than that, because I think you want one, but like, no, like the same kind of things. Like when we have people who have been shopping with us and they have a house fire, we do a fundraiser. Like we do a shirt launch to try to raise money for them. And it's not like a big public thing, like who we donate it to. Like we usually just like raise the money, and then it's just like, hey, we're helping a close family in need that, lost their house to a fire.
You don't want to put them on a spotlight too in that situation.
Yeah. It's like, doing those kind of things where like it is just like, oh, something happened. Hey, how do we help? How do we get involved? How do we do this? And it's just, it's so funny because like when you stop viewing your customers as customers, like, and start viewing them as like members of your community or your family, or how you would try to treat one of your friends or start treating them like friends. Like it's amazing how much your business can grow and how much retention and loyalty. And, like if you were to ask Tina Church right now to go work out in another gym, she would laugh in my face. You know what I mean? She'd be like, heck no, unless we were on vacation or something, right? Like if we were, no way, it's like, and it's so funny because I feel like it translates across so many many businesses, like, and it's so funny because one of them was like as a guy, it's like only two things in life most men are truly loyal to is their wife and their barber. And it's like, literally though, like I don't go anywhere else. Like I wouldn't go anywhere else. And so part of the reason is because like, I know he cares. He cares about me. He like genuinely does. Like and the same thing for, like for Triad and SRT, like it sometimes really is just that simple of like, how do we care, but also how do we care in an actionable way can go so far for a community because one, I don't think it's disingenuous at all because it's like, the other thing is like the rest of the community notices and realizes that they are part of a community of action that will help each other during times of need or during times of celebration. Like they are all in this together and they're proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Name of the book's Unreasonable Hospitality, by the way.
Okay, I've heard that one before. I haven't read it, but I need to.
It is freaking awesome. And just going back to that, like even more so than fitness. So like this started as a young kid. Like my parents would tell me, hey, it's your birthday. Like we'll take you anywhere you want to go. And like as a kid, I just wanted to eat at home. I'm like, dude, I just want a steak. Like Dad, go get some steaks and let's make some steaks. And then as I got older, I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, which is like a wine and food like culture. There's just like amazing restaurants all over the place. And I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And my dad was like, dude, I'm going to take you to this really nice restaurant downtown. We're going to get you a steak like that you've never got before, like a 4 or 5 star restaurant. And I went there and my world was blown. Like, this was awesome. The service was so good and everything. And I fell in love with like fine dining, and not that I'm a snob, but I just loved how they served me. And like going to those restaurants, I love watching how they serve, how they love people and genuinely care about them. And like I view the fitness business the same way. I'm like, man, I just want to provide a remarkable experience for people and love people well. Because you know what? A push-up's a push-up, a pull-up's a pull-up. Yes, someone might be able to coach it a little bit different, but you got to put your secret sauce on things and develop that culture in the community, to help people stay long enough to get results and stuff like that. So
there's something really fun about like providing great service, like really trying to find every little detail of what I can do, every little nuance of like when someone comes in, them leaving and be like, that was an amazing experience.
One of the ones real quick is it's such a cool thing because it like happened to me one time when we were there, didn't realize it, but we were at Mahogany downtown, and I think we were ordering drinks and they like checked your ID, and when they saw my ID they realized it was my birthday and handed me didn't say anything, handed me my ID back, and then probably 30 minutes later, we're like finishing up our meal and stuff. They came up to me and they were like, we noticed it was your birthday. Like, you can pick a dessert that you'd like. And also here's this. And they gave me a card signed by all the waiters that night, like with my name on it, all of them signing it saying happy birthday. And I was like, holy crap. Like this is like, that took them a 15-cent card in 30 seconds. Hey, there's a birthday. Everybody come sign it. His name's Thomas, right?
Yeah. But there's a system behind that.
Right. And it took this much effort. And I was like, that was amazing. Like, that's great. All they did was just happen to notice it was my birthday on my ID. And they were like, yep, everybody go sign a card. Like,
and you know what the first thing I noticed when I walked in here? Preston sitting behind the desk writing a handwritten card to somebody.
Oh, right.
It was probably a customer. We do it too, but I was just like, that's it right there. Like that's
he writes our defined ones. Yeah.
So like my mind just went right there. But yeah, man, they actually care. And that whole book, Unreasonable Hospitality, is about that, creating remarkable experiences.
That's cool.
But putting a system around it.
Right.
That's, I think,
it's just so hard to scale though. Like that's the hard part with those types of things. Like you can have a restaurant here, a restaurant there, but like at mass is so hard to do.
Yeah, man, I feel like that's the key, because like, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that like having a system caring about the customer, the member, whatever it is, the patron, that's what creates successful businesses, but it is hard to scale. You have to set a system to be able to scale. I think we're all in agreement that it's not disingenuous to set a system to that. In my opinion, that's like, it really is coming, like I'm maybe having a realization here of
a stroke.
Yeah. That too. But, man, I think that's the key when like growing and scaling a business, and we are very much in a season of this right now, is as you grow, like as the sales grow, or grow to more locations, you can focus on two different types of systems. You can focus on ones that directly work to grow sales. Like Thomas and I could be working on, a robust commission structure and we could be working on sales techniques, and we could be working on things to, get more products and out the door, increase our tickets, increase, the amount of things that people are buying. But we're building systems to have our employees provide better customer service. That we are, that's one really cool thing we've been working on a lot recently, is making our training, which is already it's pretty tough. We're not making it harder, but we are making it more robust in the sense of, we've put a lot of time and effort into how do we have our employees, once they hit the floor for the first time, that they are ready to provide as good as possible of an experience for people that come in the door. It's not, we're not teaching them to sell more. We're not teaching them to increase the ticket. We're not doing any of that. It's more about how do we get them a water? How do to open up the experience first? How do we get them asking about and getting to know these people personally? How are we getting them samples to make sure that they like what they're choosing? How are we adding more value to this, so when they walk out, they're like, man, that was a really cool place, and I just want to come back. Where Thomas and I were talking even earlier today about it's not about increasing. It's the goal when someone comes in isn't to increase their ticket right now. The goal is for them to come back.
Right. We want tell their friends.
And tell their friends. Yeah, exactly.
That's like it's from a success thing, especially from a monetary success thing too. I think so many businesses look to what you were kind of talking about in there is how do I get somebody to spend more money here? How do I get somebody, okay, I'm going to put more stuff up by the register so that they, oh yeah, I need this too. And they grab it. And then, you're going to upsell, and you're going to be like, hey, well, make sure that, you talk to them about this and this and this, so that, they come and buy 3 more things than what they came in for. And it's in reality, the thing that grows, in my opinion, we were looking at numbers. In the almost 10 years that we have been open, we have entered ballpark 1.3% of the Oklahoma City metro into our system. What has more meat on the bone? Me trying to get you to buy $20 more worth of crap, or 98.7% of the entire market that we're in?
Right.
How about if I treat you really well, you might go tell 2 other people to come in here.
Right.
It's a whole lot more than 20 more bucks on your ticket. If money is my only goal, 2 more people coming in that I can treat right and give them the experience, and then they hopefully tell 2 more people. The meat on the bone is the 98.7%, not what I could have convinced you to leave with. And I think if more places focused on that, I think they'd see a lot more success in general. I think, especially in retail, it goes so much into that, not to call any company out, but have you ever shopped at the Buckle? Dude. Golly, I went
Call them out.
I will. They're big enough. They aren't going to hear the Buckle, Mr. Buckle. You get it. Is obviously listening to this, but it's I go in there in high school and be jeans I couldn't afford anyway, and I'd be yeah, I'm looking for jeans. And what size are you? And I'm I don't know, 32, whatever I was. And they're okay, cool. They shove you in a room into a changing room, and they literally just start throwing jeans over the top, and then they're this looks like a shirt for you too. And you're just whoa, this is a lot. I literally snuck out. I'm I think she's gone. Get my regular clothes on and sneak out. I get why I guess that exists, but it's how about just make an experience where you're the only place I want to buy jeans from. Not right. You're going to get me one time and you're going to force me into buying these, and then I'm never going to come back in again. I just don't get it.
That's what I love about Triad too, though, man. You guys, I said it earlier in the podcast, but if you play the long game, you can't lose. I bet you 9 out of 10 consultants would come in and say, hey, you guys need to be pushing more product. Your team needs to be selling more of this, more of that. And then there's that 1 out of 10 who's going to tell you, you know what? Culture and community is going to eat strategy for breakfast. Yes, we might not be making as much margin, as much sales, and our numbers might be down for this quarter and the next quarter, but year over year, that compound effect is going to look significantly different. And most people aren't willing to sit in the game for 10 years.
Yeah.
I believe it takes a decade. I started in 2016, just the compounding effect of everything and the brand and the community and stuff. And like, we've had success, but man, I just see it happening. Like, it's just, business is way easier now because the brand is out there. People know who we are. They know what we're about. And it's from making those daily inputs and not being greedy.
Right.
On the front end. And it's hard, to be honest, especially as a young person, like, you know, like wanting to provide for my wife and my kids and stuff like that. But, you know, like it just never felt authentic to me.
Yeah.
And anytime because I hired several consultants and there was a lot of things that just did not feel good in my spirit and in my gut. And I didn't roll with those things. I just stayed authentic to who I was. And I had some good mentors as well who were like, man, what is the long term? Like what fulfillment do you want to get out of this business? Because you're the one going to work, putting your name on it every single day versus just chasing the dollar. The dollar's not going to fulfill you at the end of the day.
Never. Well, and that's like we've been doing like a bunch of new metrics and stuff. And like the message I've been trying to like over communicate, honestly, is like, it's okay if things are down or things are up. That's great. Like, don't ride the highs, don't ride the lows. Like, it's okay. Like, this is just a roadmap. This is just flags for whether we need to turn left or turn right or kind of make some like small adjustments. But like, never, ever, ever, ever try to over harvest your crop. Like, don't try to strip it. Like, don't try to get more out of what we already have. Let's plant more seeds for next season. Like, let's just keep the growth in that going. Like, instead of trying to get, you know, every little bit off of everything and kill the plant, like, why don't we just have more? We'll grow more. Let's go meet new people. Let's get out in the community further and find new ways to connect with that 98.7% that has never seen us, has never walked into our doors before. Because not dissimilar to what you're talking about is like that 98.7, could they benefit from something we have to offer? Absolutely they could. From nutrition help, from a multivitamin to anything, right? Like there's an abundance of things that we could help them with. And like understanding that, trying to find them as opposed to, you know, just trying to strip everything we can, get everything we can from everybody. It's like, that's never going to work. I hate shopping like that. I hate when I go in places that are like that. It just drives me nuts. And I just,
if we wanted to double our business, you know, I think like you said, like a consultant could come in and overnight we could probably make a pretty big difference in bumping up our ATS. Like, let's say we wanted to double our ATS, our average total sale, but like, let's say we wanted to double our business. Okay, well, there's, you know, 2 routes that we could generally take. And not that you have to go one or the other, but if you hypothetically had to go one or the other, we could take our ATS from $50 to $100. And we could maybe do that like semi-quickly in the sense of like if we, you know, implemented some training and some sales techniques to upsell and increase the ticket and whatnot. But in my opinion, especially because our model is very much not based on that, we'd probably lose 25% of our customer base.
And 75% of our staff.
Yeah, seriously.
Our staff would walk out.
Yeah.
I would want you the new general manager.
But not to mention, man, like long-term, long-term though, like honestly, increasing from $50 to $100 on a ticket, like would probably, like you could potentially do it really quickly, but you'd have to be very, very harsh about it. Yeah. But what seems like an overall long-term easier goal to me would be to take that 1.3% to 2.6.
Yeah, literally.
So
there's still 97%. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so much. Like, there's still so many people.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think success looks different to every single person. How do you guys define success for Triad?
I would say, for me, it's kind of changed over the years, but to put it simply, for me at the point in time that I am in my life is being financially comfortable, having enough time and availability to spend with my family and enjoying what I do for work but to success. That would be the biggest key element for me is enjoying growing something.
Yeah.
What would young Kevin have said?
Young Kevin,
$1 million.
So I actually had a conversation with Vincent, and I think he had probably had the same conversation with Chet, because Vincent was asking before we got into business, hey, what's your goal in business? We're about to jump in together and start this thing. What's your long term? What do you want personally? And my big goal was a little bit simpler at the time, but I would say I want to grow something that I'm proud of. And if we could get to where we've got a location everywhere in the metro of Oklahoma City, we're serving the entire metro, and which we've still got a long way to go to get there. If we could do that, but I made minimum wage all the way through, like to get to that point, I would feel successful. So it was more focused on growth, which that hasn't left, but I think a big element is being able to enjoy, where in the beginning I said, I don't care if I hate my life. I am very focused on that goal, that would be worth it to me, where now I've realized that I need to, even if it's hard or stressful or there's long days, I still want to enjoy the work in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So you think in the beginning your identity was actually in the brand more so?
More so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where now it's, especially since Riley's gotten here, it's gotten a little bit more removed. So
it changes so much, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What about you?
I want to be a good steward of everything that I've been entrusted with. So I have a lot of different definitions of success, and I have goals on my phone. I have like my faith. My faith is a big part of my life. I want to honor and glorify God with everything He's given and entrusted me. And I think it's a daily discipline and a daily walk. I used to think I needed to do these big things for like the kingdom of God, and I just need to be out there telling everyone about Jesus, which that's not the case, man. It's just like the little intimate relationships, actually investing the quality time. I want to have the margin to be able to give my time more freely to people. So buying back my time over time would be success, so I can impact that area. I want to be very life-giving to my wife. I always tell myself, I'm like, this is going to sound so weird, but like, what kind of like man would I want to be married to if I was a woman? Like, am I going to be a man that comes through the door tired, complaining, woe is me? Dude, I want to walk through that door like freaking just hair on fire, like fired up, someone that's life-giving, energetic, a leader for my house. I want to do the same for my kids. I want them to be proud of dad and look up to me. And I want to have the margin and the time. That's why I did real estate, because real estate, I mean, my lifestyle is essentially funded by real estate and our investments that we've done. And I just, want that continue to increase over time. So from a financial aspect, the real estate is it. And then honestly, like the gym, that would be the bottom of it. But I want to have an amazing community, where people are encouraged, built up, becoming the healthiest, fittest versions of themselves, where they're looking good, moving great, and feeling better, dude, and just live my life.
Yeah.
So I'm a simple man.
That's awesome.
But I don't need to live a bougie lifestyle. I'm a pretty simple person, but time is the big thing, especially when you start having kids, man. It changes the way you think about things, the way you value things. Young Derek would be like, man, I want to be this savant in the fitness industry and own all these gyms and do all the things. Young kid with a dream, but like, it's not that I wasn't able to accomplish that. It's just that the dream changed. You got wisdom along the way. You got beat up. You got bruises. You got scars. You learned what you thought you wanted when you arrived there wasn't what I wanted most of the times. And I constantly think about that every single day. I'm like, I'm chasing this right here, but when I get there, is that really what I want? Because oftentimes it hasn't been what I wanted. But I learned along the way, and then I just change course.
I feel like since Riley has been here, honestly, more than anything, it's helped to know in a number of different ways, but the way that you're kind of talking about it is where, yeah, you're so like, I don't know, there's more like riding on it. Like your entire identity, your entire goal, like everything you want to do in life is riding on the business. But with a family, I feel like it becomes a little bit more of, yeah, your priorities kind of change and you're okay with living a little bit more humbly. But for me, I think that's helped me personally because it's helped me step away from the business in a sense that there's not so much writing on it that it's like, hey, if this doesn't make it, it's not the end of the world. Like I'm not gonna like, it's not the end all be all. Like, hey, if we live comfortably and we enjoy what we do, I am 100% happy. It's helped me step away and view the business for more of what it is and less of me as a whole and more of a game that we're playing. And I feel like we've been able to make better moves since I've taken it a little less seriously. It's like I've gotten better at the game, being the player in the game that I am. I feel like I've gotten better with taking it a little less seriously because it's like, man, like if I don't ever get to buy a McLaren, like that's fine. But like at the same time, it's like, man, this is what I do for work. I'm going to do the best I can. It's like, man, that'd be really cool if I could buy a McLaren or at least get to the point where it's just like, I have enough money to buy a McLaren. Do I want to and be able to just make that choice? And maybe I'll say, man, no, I really actually don't want that. But to be able to like, I don't know, kind of like work like not so seriously, but towards something that could be really cool in the future.
I love that, man. It's a game. Yeah. Having the financial freedom to take more risk, chances, things like that, and not just be so dependent and reliant on something for an income. And dude, even my workouts, I gamify my workouts. I'm like, bro, if I don't get this many squats when I'm doing this, like I'm dying. You know what I'm saying? And like that's how I thought about wrestling when I wrestled. I'm like, bro, if I don't get in on this single leg and take this cat down right now, like someone's coming to do something to my family. Like I gotta get this takedown right now.
What's those videos? It's like girls working out, like their self motivation is like, you're looking so good, you're so strong, like you're doing awesome, which I think obviously is good. But like guys, like their mental when they're working out is like, lift this or you'll die.
Well, I think like, one of the things you were saying, and it reminded me back to what he was saying too, is like now that you've been able to kind of take a little bit more of a step back, you do kind of have like he was saying when he was wrestling in high school, he felt like he was wrestling free. Like it was like you're playing the game now to win, not to not lose kind of thing. And I feel like when it becomes so much of like everything in your life, it's like, if this doesn't work, then I lose. And now it's like, well, no, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of other things that like are in life. If, something does happen, like there's still a lot more life. And so I think like once you kind of get to that point, you do get to kind of like play the game a little bit more free. And, you guys talking about this and one of the things that I've always used as like one of my definitions of success with business, and I think this is something that like
I was going to ask yours on what your difference would be.
I think everything you guys said was great, but I think one of the things that's really good, along with everything that you guys said, that I think both like Triad and SRT, I think I would say can kind of hang their hat on, and I love that, and it's a real sense of pride for me in general. Is like having a company or a brand that has the reputation of being like good people. Like at the end of the day, like when I hear people talk about Triad, I always hear about like how great we are in like people, like how great the people are. I mean, like how great. Oh, I went in and I talked to Kaylin and she was really wonderful. She was great. She treated me really well. Or I went and I talked to Ethan, or you name the employee, every one of them has been named. And so like that is such a thing of success when like the reputation, when I get to hear externally the reputation of our company, that is like such a sense of pride for me. And to give kudos to you as well is like, I have never heard a soul say a single even kind of could be interpreted as a negative thing about SRT ever. In the gym community, other gym owners, people who just work out just in general. Like it is, just like anything, like not every gym's for everybody, but you guys are so well respected by how you treat your people, how you train your people, your intentionality with them. Like, and I think having that kind of reputation is such a big barometer of success for me. Like if you could tell me we could have, and I know this is how we all feel, but it's like we could have 12 locations, but we'd have half the reputation. It's like, no, like
Right.
I'd rather be
good.
where we're at. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather be where we're at with the reputation we have and try to make it from here.
I feel like it's easier to grow, 6 locations with a good reputation to 12 with a good reputation than to take 12 and turn it into a good reputation.
Like what do you do?
Which, like, big kudos to you too for man, like being so hard-nosed on setting systems in place where we set, I think, enough to like not fail, but we're learning now all the things that we like maybe I think we took for granted in the beginning of especially our customer service, going back to having to set systems for, our customer service where we had a good culture because it was small and tight knit. But as we've grown, we've had to implement more and more of those systems to treat people well. Man, we've definitely learned that there is a lot harder thing to do than we realized, man, as we're kind of having to backtrack on it now with 3 locations is we've started to notice, man, where we're trying to avoid, really hard sales and employees that run out of commission. And like that did awesome when we were, really tight knit community, but there was these tiny little signs of, hey, if we're not doing a whole lot, to show these employees that they need to be doing hard sales, you also have to make sure that the employees don't just become a clerk and sit behind the counter. So that there's a lot of, that's kind of our main goal right now is find that middle ground of great service, but not hard sales. How do you do that? Well, we don't really know. We're figuring it out now.
Qualify that.
Yeah. But man, we are having to do a decent amount of backtracking, man. And you talking about the systems that
I have 9 modules I can show you on.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you guys have a lot more pressure now that you have a lot more overhead with more stores and stuff to push more sales? Because that's just the reality of the situation. No,
not necessarily. It's the nice thing is I think all stores have continued to grow at least by a little bit year after year.
That's great. Yeah.
So there hasn't. That's been definitely a blessing in disguise. I mean, if they've started to decrease, it would be. Very honestly, it would be very hard to not do that.
Well, we've had
panic mode.
We've had situations, and I think we've done well where like our fire extinguisher, our med kit, our parachute in those moments of like when it's just like, oh shit, what's going on? I think that we've done a really good job of, we have a playbook, we've stuck to that playbook. That playbook has shown success time and time again. And so like one of the big ones for us, trade secrets here, but like one of the big ones for us is like if a store starts slowing down or not doing like what we think it should be doing or growing in the way that we think it should be growing, is like flip of a hat, double sample events. Like get out in the community twice as often for the next, until we start to see a turnaround. Get out in the community twice as often. Again, I think like we've always had the mindset, even if we never thought about it this way, but we've always had the mindset of like the attack the 98.7%, don't attack the customers that are here, like find more people. And so I think like having that mindset has always really helped us of like, we've never had to do it too many times, but there's been a number of times where it's like, hey, I'm managing this store. It's not doing what I want it to be doing right now. I'm going to be doing double sample events. Like I'm going to go work an extra 4 hours every week and go,
Norman.
Yeah, we're going to pull double sample events for a little bit and just really get out in the community and really just have like people see us and us have an opportunity to show them who we are and what we have to offer, and that we're harmless, and that, we're a good place to come and buy supplements from. And I think that we've always been able to rebound from that. So I think luckily that's been ingrained in us enough that I think that would still be, I think we'd have to go through a pretty tough season, and those normal things not working. And even then, you hope you don't ever have to feel that way. Yeah.
It helps a lot that he handles most of our like employees and more of the customer facing side of things, and I handle the budget, because I'd probably press the panic mode way too quickly where I get to say, hey, here's what our budget looks like. Thomas, what do you think we should do?
Yeah, I know. We purposely draw a line there of where it's like, I don't look at the budget. Like, I look at expenses, but I don't look at the budget. And so it's like, I don't know how much are in our accounts. So it's like, that's for him to worry about. And then he can worry about that. And then I can do what I think is best for us, just from like a employee and like customer facing sense. And then
I can feed you more general information, and you can do what you need to do with that kind of deal.
Yeah. So
have you boys ever read the book Traction?
I am in the middle of that book right now, actually. Yeah.
Do you know which one of you guys is the visionary and which one is the drawing a blank on it, the integrator? Or are you not that far yet in the book?
I think that, I don't know, I feel like there's different situations for both of us. Right now, I think it's mostly based off of the roles that we're in more than anything.
Yeah.
I'd probably label myself as a visionary and him as the integrator. But I think we've also found ourselves in opposite roles in the past too, especially with him kind of being like more on the customer facing side of things when he was managing the stores and getting a lot of feedback and a lot of time to like think through things, and me being, about 50% of our back end staff. It was up to me to implement a lot of new stuff. So, I'd say it's kind of flip-flopped over the years. I think it kind of also depends a little bit on the situation right now. I think with him being in the general management role right now, it's I don't know. Sometimes we get to both be the visionary on a project, and then he does a lot of implementation. Maybe, I'm helping out in small ways on the implementation side of things. But yeah, it kind of depends on the situation a little bit.
Yeah. Because we were talking about systems, and Gino Wickman, all those books he wrote, Traction, Rocket Fuel, all those, like, that's what we did at Solid Rock. Like, those books encompassed all of our systems that we created. We plugged it in there. So that was a great book. And when you guys were talking about your different roles, I'm like, man, that would be the book for you guys to read. And I don't say this to scare you, but me and my business partner read that book, and we're like, and we took the test, and we were two visionaries. And you know what it said? You're probably not. You're probably going to butt heads at some point and not figure things out if you're both visionaries. But it sounds like you guys have a great balance. And from the outside looking in, I don't know what it is, but it sounds like you're definitely an integrator and just good with people and getting them moving and grooving and charging in a direction. So
well, and I do feel like I think that we've done a lot of good in that way of like purposefully like, blocking off certain points to each other for like specific things.
We've screwed up a lot.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot.
We all have.
Each other. Yeah.
Yeah. We've definitely screwed up. But I think like, again, like you handling, like if I handled the budget, then I think I would have like, I wouldn't be able to wrestle free. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it's like I can kind of look at it and I can look at the numbers and see how we're doing and see how we're growing and think of things and implement things that I think are going to work and whatever and kind of try to push those for store growth and whatever. But I can do that without ever stressing too much about like what's this, what's that, and then being like very. I feel like I've been doing as much as I can recently, especially of being like very cost conscious too. Mm-hmm. And like, so it's like, okay, I know if I'm doing this, I can let him wrestle free. And then by me not having to look at all that stuff because I'm taking care of what I need to care about, he's never talking to me about like money or what we're doing, and then cool, I can do what I need to do freely.
Yeah, that's a good point. I get to be like, hey, we need to cut this, we need to bump this, we need to do that, and I can say, hey, our sales on this aren't doing so well, and I know confidently that you can kind of take care of that and do that in a way that's not going to push our employees to be salesy. So
even when it's just like, like, hey, we've got this much in damaged products. Like, okay, cool. Well, like, let's look at like, how do we work on that? You know what I mean? I think there's always a lot of wiggle room. And I think we've given each other by not, both doing all of the things, like we also give enough room to breathe for like ideas and innovation to happen within those.
Yeah. So would you still say that you're still the visionary at
Yeah.
SRT?
Yep.
Do you have somebody that is an integrator, or are
I
you
don't.
feeling-
So like if I want it to scale, like I don't feel like I need an integrator at this point because it's a single location, like mom and pop style gym. But like say, and I've been approached by a couple different companies who are like, hey, we want you to franchise this system. We'll buy X amount
Wow.
of the business and stuff like that.
Good for you. We've never got that.
But I would need an integrator. I would fail miserably or it would be chaos and unorganized. So, and I think the reason like we have been approached because when I started the business, the guy's dad who owns the facility we're at, his name is Gene. He had me read this book called The E-Myth Revisited. Don't know if you guys have read it.
I've read that
but
one.
it's all about McDonald's and essentially creating your service-based business as a franchise. So when we created everything, we made it franchisable. So like if I got in a car wreck today, died or something like that, my team has the entire playbook of like how to run the business, how we do everything and everything that I do. Being the founder of the business, like I am, like not in a prideful way, I'm a lot of the culture of the business still too. And the team is as well. Like it's a brand, but like being, a service mom and pop, like I'm still a lot of the culture. But yeah, man, just creating everything in a little booklet, your SOP, your standard operating procedures, I think makes it attractive because it's scalable.
Yeah.
And you talk about like operational capacity. This is something like systems, like something I'm big on. Like, dude, what is the smallest footprint you can operate in? A lot of people think bigger, like let's get the coolest freaking thing ever that looks awesome. Dude, what is the smallest footprint you can operate in and still have a good client experience? That's an attractive thing in the fitness industry for acquisition, for someone to come in and purchase you. And I'm not looking to get acquired by any means, but it's something I kind of nerd out and geek out. I like look at it as a challenge because I'm like, this is really cool to me, but to other people, it might not be that cool.
Yeah.
The more ideal you can make it to somebody else, it probably means you're just more profitable yourself as well.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you're running a better business that way. So
absolutely.
What's your day-to-day look like now? I mean, I'm obviously hopefully not sleeping at the gym anymore.
Dude, I just sleep at the gym all the time.
Just for funsies.
Yeah. So, I love getting up early in the morning. In the first 6 months of starting the business, I was like, bro, I was getting up at like 3:45, to 4, depending on if I had a 4 a.m. training session or not. And I was like, man, in 6 months, I'm going to have a team. Like this is all going to be smooth sailing. I'm not going to be getting up this early anymore. And it just showed how immature I was because like the more I grow and the more the business grows, the more my marriage grows, my relationship with my kids, my friends, dude, when I have a servant heart and I just serve people first, everything gets better. And so like, I am like honestly married to the early morning times at Solid Rock. So I get up at 4 every morning. I go in, I usually coach our 5, 6, and 7 in the morning. From there, I go home, have breakfast with my kids. My wife actually heads to the gym. She goes and works out at our 8:30 time. And then she comes home. And then I do computer work for about an hour. Then I'll head back to the gym. And depending on the day, I'll meet with some team members. We'll go over some things. And then, I might go do it like another hour worth of like computer work. And then I'll hit a workout at the gym in the middle of the day, maybe try some new programming or something like that. And then I go home and kick it. And then if I have to put any fires in the afternoon, I'll put out some fires in the afternoon. So, but that's just a typical day to me. So
That's awesome, man. So what time are you home just kicking it?
probably like 2, 3 o'clock.
Good for you.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, but
You're getting up pretty early, but
yeah, I'm getting up very early. I go to bed at like 8 o'clock probably most nights, 8, 9 o'clock. So, yeah, put the kids down at like 7:30 to 8. Then my wife and I hang out for about 30 minutes. And then
And then, yeah.
man, we when Riley was first born, we had, let's see, I think Alyssa and I had about 4 hours to ourselves. That's dwindled down to about 2. So good to know that just keeps getting smaller. So I need less though. Like we put Riley to bed and we're like, you want to watch a movie? And we're like, yeah, that sounds nice. We'll look for a movie for a second. And then it'll be like, actually sounds really nice to go to bed.
that's crazy. My wife and I watched a movie the other night for like the first time in like forever because we're just so tired after we put the kids to bed. It's
Yeah.
like we have a newborn, we have a 3-year-old, and we have a 5-year-old. And like the 3-year-old and 5-year-old, they sleep through the night. But like, dude, if they have like a nightmare or something, they're coming in to get you up. But then the baby's like waking up all the time. I'm just like, man, it's just like, I'm just in a season of life where we're always tired. Is what my wife and I tell each other. We're just tired all the time.
Yeah, with a newborn, man, I'm sure, and 2 other kids, dude, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So, on the real estate side of things, do you have a whole lot on your day to day there? You guys have a property management company, or?
Don't have a property management. I manage it all myself. I would say I spend about at most 2 hours a month on that. So
Good for you.
Just getting systems down, good mentors, seeking out good leadership and stuff like that. If we have like a turnover or something that month, I might have a little bit more work than I would just to go and do inspections of things and schedule stuff. But as we get bigger, if we want to keep doing it, there's a lot of options I can do with the real estate versus just having a ton of rental houses. I could do what's called a 1031 exchange and exchange it into a commercial property. You're just essentially deferring the taxes on all the gains on that property over time. So say I wanted to go buy a strip center in Norman. Once all that value is appreciated enough, I could take all those properties and go buy a strip center in Norman if I wanted to do that, and maybe hold a handful of properties. So that's kind of why I got into it as well, because like the gym model didn't put off enough cash, nor I didn't have enough cash to just go buy a building or something like that. And if I'm only going to have one gym, it makes sense to own a piece of real estate versus just leasing something.
Wanting to move into your own space eventually.
Yeah, that's what I'll do eventually. So that's what I was talking about. Awesome. Like in Norman, maybe buy a commercial building, or Southwest OKC area, that little pocket area right there. And then just have some other businesses that complement what we do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What time are we at?
Well, it's almost his bedtime. It's 7:40.
Listen, we can pull an all-nighter. We can
go.
I could keep going.
I'm down. I'm down.
What other questions you boys got for me?
I guess this is, I know the answer to it, but I think I know the answer to it, I should say. But, what do you think it is that made you want to run your business the way that you do, right? You talk about the people who come in, and you talk about the, advisors or people who come in and, would tell you to, like you said, would tell us to sell more or whatever. And, I know why we do it, but what is it about you that makes you want to run your business the way that you do?
What do you mean specifically? Like,
just like your care for people, your, intentionality with your clients, like all that kind of stuff. I think it takes a certain kind of person to want to do that, because, we always pseudo joke that, we're never afraid to give away all the secrets that we have of like what we do, because we know how hard it is and how much like genuine care you just have to do it. And if you aren't already doing these things or trying to find ways to do things like this, like you're never going to copy all the stuff that we do, because like you can only fake it for so long and like you're just not going to. So, like what is it about you that makes you want to run, your businesses in like
caring in a caring way? No, I get your question for sure. So it's two part. My faith first and foremost, like that drives everything I do, but also I'm a psychopath. I'm just crazy, dude. I'm OCD. I just really care about people. Yep. I like want to come out of my skin and freak out when things aren't done with excellence. Like when people go through the motions and are just okay with getting by in life, like it drives me nuts. And my wife tells me all the time, she's like, bro, you got to turn down your intensity around people, because you're going to scare people away. You're going to run them away. And it's not that I just want to be like, a drill sergeant in people's face, but I just care so much and I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I believe it's one of my greatest assets, but it's also one of my greatest downfalls. I've been taken advantage of a lot in my life just because, I just trust people and I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm just willing to, serve and give people everything. But at the end of the day, Derek's going to die. And I want to, leave this earth having an impact, knowing, like, hey man, like, that was a man of faith who was a servant to his community, who loved his wife and his kids well. It's not about the materialistic things. It's not even about being the best. Like, what does the best even mean? Like, the best looks so different to everyone else. And like competition or whatever in the gym industry, I don't care. People are like, blah, 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 so-and-so down the street. I'm like, are they helping people move and get healthy? freaking awesome, dude. Like
Literally.
we're winning right now.
Thank you.
There's
Thank you.
enough people in the marketplace to serve them all. Like people have that scarcity mindset that we come back to. But man, that's what makes me tick, dude. I have to be fulfilled in my being. There's just like this little demon inside of me that's just like, dude, you cannot do things halfway. Like you just got to go all in. And you just got to do things with excellence. I'm just not okay with just the status quo.
Yeah. Right. That's awesome. And I think you say, you've been taken advantage of, and that, this is something that comes back. And I feel like I've said this more and more in my life recently, but it is like, there's something that I respect so much about somebody who, even though life can take advantage, people can take advantage and stuff like that, if we weren't willing to love and trust and do the things that you do, or that we try to do, or that other people out there that are like this do, like if I was so guarded that I wouldn't be able to give 100% of my love, the people who deserve it would never get it. Right. Yeah. If I wasn't willing to give 100, the people who I want to actually give it and will receive it will never have access to it. And so I think that's such a cool thing, because you can tell with Solid Rock and the way that you do things, that like you do genuinely love everybody that comes in there, and you care so much about them, and you want the best for them. And it's just such a cool thing, because it's harder and harder to find, unfortunately. And it's such a funny thing that you bring up about, like, people did the same thing with us, like, oh, another supplement store, blah blah blah, and we're like, great.
Yeah.
More people selling supplements. 1.3%. That's all we've ever seen.
Like if I was afraid of other gyms, would I have even gotten to the business? Like,
right.
Like you can have competition in everything in life.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And it doesn't, like, the ones that are always so weird to me is when like they are the one, they want to like be mean. And I'm like, what? I'm not mad. We don't care.
There's
like,
enough room for all of us.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Like,
we're all just helping people.
Yeah.
If that truly is the goal, then we're going to be able to do twice as much with the two of us as opposed to just one.
100%, dude. Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing, and I think like the theme of what I'm talking about here is like, and no hate towards them, who knows, but it is like, you start to realize, especially in the fitness industry, is who is here to help people and who is here to make money, right? And there's nothing wrong with making money, right? Like that's a part of why we all do this, but it is like, but again, at the end of the day, like, I pride myself in, and this is something that I talk about a lot on the podcast and have, especially to people like in your position, but like, how many, you've been open for almost 10 years?
Yeah.
How many years of life do you think you've added to people?
Dude, it's so funny that you asked that question. There's a dude I was talking to the other day. I think we've added 10 years to his life.
Yeah.
He was a smoker, drinker, depressed. He told me, he was like, dude, I just wanted to end my life.
Maybe more than 10.
He's just freaking, he came in and like he would do honestly like 3 push-ups and then just start coughing, like having a coughing attack. Like it was so bad. And that's just one person, man. There's so many
how many people you've touched, and how many, or one of the ones that we've said, I've said before too on the podcast, is how many people because of Solid Rock did you introduce to their grandchildren?
Yeah, that's good.
That they would have never met.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like, by having such an inviting place, because, I use my mother-in-law as an example. I love Tina to death, and she will be the first to admit that, like, prior to finding things like Solid Rock, she did not like the gym. It was not a thing that she was into, not a place that she liked to go. She didn't really work out. Philip, my father-in-law, was the guy in the gym, right? And Tina was cutting hair and didn't care about the gym. And then she comes across Solid Rock, and I don't even know how she originally got set up and working out with you guys, but now it is like, I remember we were on the cruise to Alaska, and we were gone for 9 days or something like that total with travel. And I remember like we were like 3 days in, and she's like, we're like, what's wrong, Tina? And she's like, I just miss Solid Rock. We're like looking at glaciers and like looking at all, and she's like, I'm ready to get back to the gym. I miss my people. And it's like, it is such a community for her.
Yeah.
Like she loves it. It is her people. It's the people that she wants to see. And it's like if Tina Church is gone for 2 weeks, she's gonna miss church and she's gonna miss Solid Rock. Like those are gonna be the things that she's talking about.
It's funny that you say that, dude. When I travel and do things, like I enjoy the mundane of going to the gym, having that morning cup of coffee, and it's like, man, there's just those are the finer and the sweeter things about life. And that we have an older demographic that we serve as well, and something that's really cool to me, and hopefully they don't take offense to it, but helping them overcome limiting beliefs, because a lot of them have a lifetime of limiting beliefs when it comes to their health and fitness. And a lot of them have been told it's not their fault, that like, oh, you're 70, 80 years old. Like you're supposed to not feel good. You're supposed to hurt, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, bro, like we're living longer than ever now with modern day medicine. Like, dude, you can still be so fit in your 70s and 80s and do stuff with your great grandkids, grandkids. And it's really cool to see some of those older people light back up, because a lot of them weren't lit up and then they just light back up, man. And there's these two ladies, they're two sisters who just signed up, I want to say 3 months ago. And they came in, didn't do any strength training. They were just big time runners. And dude, today when I was at the gym, they were doing like bandit pull-ups with like the tiniest little band. And I'm like, man, in 2 more months, you guys are going to be doing like 2 to 3 pull-ups at body weight. I'm like, let's freaking go.
Literally. That's awesome. My grandpa on his 80th birthday sent me a video of him benching 315. On his 80th birthday.
What an animal.
Yeah, right. But, Tina's far from 80, obviously. But Tina you go do Solid Rock with Tina Church, she'll smoke you, dude. She will. She'll eat your breakfast out there, man.
Here's one really cool thing, man. And I think it's probably, you have probably a compounding effect on this of you create the culture in the first place, and it just keeps itself in check. Where I remember the first time I was ever in SRT and I'm working the sample booth and passing out stuff, Tina was so excited to see me in there and like introduce me to other people. It's like she's pumped to share the gym with other people as well. And I'm sure she's far from the only person that does that for the gym. I'm just excited for new people to join and their friends to come and see and experience. So,
something we did when we first started, we called them the Rocker Ambassadors. So at each class time, because going to a church or going to a gym are two of the hardest businesses for someone to walk into for the first time. They're very uncomfortable environments. So we created this program. We don't have it anymore. It just kind of organically happened after we did it for like a year. But we placed an ambassador in each training session time. And when we had someone new, it was their job to just go up, introduce, maybe walk them around the gym, because, the way our model operates is we only have one coach there when people are coming in. And we might have Danny, our admin, who does all of our member experience stuff. She might be in the office, she might not, because she's usually going out throughout the day, but it just allows for us to kind of scale in a way where we don't have to have a ton of people there or a front desk, because we've just empowered the people. And there's no better person to talk about your brand and what you guys do than the people that have had life change from your brand. So that just kind of happened.
That's a really cool idea too. Not to mention, like, obviously just, make that new person feel more comfortable, but also like if I'm a member there and you're like, hey, you're going to be the ambassador for this class, like there's a sense of pride in that too, man.
Because I can see someone walking in the gym, and if they go stand in the corner by themselves and no one talks to them or anything, I'm like, they're not coming back.
Yeah, right.
They're not coming back, or like they just feel awkward or no one says anything to them. But if someone goes up and introduces themselves and says, hey, or whatever, like the chances are they're going to come back is pretty high. Our people are like your best salespeople, like, and it's an organic sale. Like it's not a forced sale or a stack on sale. So yeah,
man, that's going right back to the systems of like, what, you're not, that's not all the systems that you talk about are like, how do you, create, like, how do you make a more welcoming experience by incorporating the members? How do you bring in, or set a system for when something in a life event happens for these people? How do you make them, how do you do something for them? Like, dude, I love it's going back to the systems of like how to care more about people and setting things for that, man. And the thing that keeps popping in my head too is like, and I love talking about this stuff too, because, I'm sure there's still some people that are listening of like, I don't know, there's still something disingenuous about setting systems to, caring about people. Like the thing that keeps popping in my head is calling my family is where when we first moved to Oklahoma City and I just moved away from college, it's, my parents are in St. Louis, I've got grandparents there as well. It was like, yeah, I'll call my family and touch base with them from time to time, but we're starting business. We're constantly busy. There's never any time. There's still never any time. Until I finally was, I think I learned just through business that it's like, you just got to set a system for kind of everything. So I've got it on my to-do list on Sunday mornings, text my parents and my grandma, and I'm like, hey, are you free at this time today for a FaceTime with me and Riley? And every Sunday, we have a FaceTime together. And it's like, if I wouldn't have that system, I would hit every Sunday and be like, I don't know if I have time today. So
I feel like the genuineness comes of like caring so much that you're making sure that you're doing it.
To put the system in place.
I care enough to put a system in place to make sure that I am successful at this.
Yeah.
I think that is very genuine. You know what I mean? Like, like it is.
That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah. Like I think like I care so much genuinely that I'm willing to place something to make sure that I don't miss it.
Yeah.
And like even in the fitness industry too, like the barrier to entry is so low that anyone can go start a gym. And like the people, it breaks my heart too, the people that I see struggle who have a real big passion for fitness, they had the fixed mindset that they can't get around the systems or the processes. And they're the people who really struggle and pour their heart and soul into something. And then they end up just leave the fitness industry with a bitter taste, thinking it's all completely broken because they weren't willing to change their mindset and have more of a growth mindset. On it. Cause dude, I've just seen so many small mom and pops come and go over the past 9 years. So
yeah, right.
It's something that's tough. I think it was like finance for me was a very similar thing. Cause one of my original partners was in charge of all of our keeping our books, working with our accountant, working with our budget, all our finances. Dreaded having to take this over. Systems was obviously a new thing for us as well. So I think these are great parallels. It's like, it was very daunting at first, but dude, once you start to really kind of get a grasp for like how things work and like what works, what strategies work and what kind of don't, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So I enjoyed talking to hearing about the systems that you guys have put in place. So,
yeah.
Well, we're getting closer and closer on 2 hours. So I think you boys ready to wrap this up?
We probably need to get home to the kids.
That's right.
You need to get home to the Roomba.
I gotta, I feel bad. I'll sprinkle a little extra on the floor tonight for the Roomba. Give a little treat. Well, first off, like Derek, just want to thank you for coming on here and like talking with us. This has been awesome. It's been super cool to get an insight into the businesses that you're running and like what you do. But I also want to just like touch base and thank you as somebody who has worked out at Solid Rock and gone to your classes and since then, gone with Triad and been able to set up there and stuff like that. Like, you run such an immaculate business because you do care so much, and it's super apparent. I remember it kind of stuck out to me a lot. One of the first times that I had gone to work out, we'd never really done anything Triad and Solid Rock yet. We were still pretty new there, and I'd gone to work out with Tina and Laurel, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and I just remember walking in and you being so intentional on how you said hello and good morning to every single person. It's very easy, especially at 4:45 in the morning to just, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? It was, hey, how was Mexico? You just got back. How was what'd you have? Did you eat this? Did you do that? Like every single person that came in, it seemed like you knew much more about their life than just something surface level. You were very intentional in how you talked to these people and how you trained them and interacted with them. And I just remember thinking like, this is somebody who gets it. This is somebody who like understands the right way to do these kind of things. And it's been something that has stuck with me for a long time ever since. I gained, even just in that first class with you, like I gained so much respect for you and how you do things and how you carry yourself as a business owner, where there's plenty of times to care less. And like, I always see you caring more, and been super inspirational, and just somebody who, when I saw that, I realized like this was somebody that not just myself, but Triad could be really grateful to partner with and to be able to do things with. And so I just appreciate the way you treat your people, the way you treat my mom, my mother-in-law, and my wife, and how you've treated my brother-in-law, and so many of the church family has made their way through SRT. But also the way that you have been very intentional with Triad, in the sense of when we have come to set up, you have such kind words to share with your people about us. And those kind of things just really benefit us in like such a positive way, to let people know that, similarly to, I'm sure you have felt sometimes too, of like, being harmless in in an ocean full of not harmless things, like that you're just genuinely there to help. You're not trying to rake anybody over the coals. You're just there to help in any way that you can. And so by you sharing those kind words with your people, has allowed us to have such great relationships with your clients, as they've become part of our clientele as well, shopping at Triad. And it's been really cool. And so I just appreciate a lot that you've done for us, and have a ton of respect for you and how you run your business. So,
man, that was like the most amazing close ever. I don't know how I'm going to top that, but I just really appreciate you boys having me on tonight, man. It was good to talk shop and chat and get to know you guys a little bit better. And I'm just super excited for what Triad's doing and what you guys are going to continue to do in the future. So thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
And for anybody that is interested in Solid Rock training, what's the best way for them to reach out, get started?
Probably the easiest way, you can just look us up on Instagram. It's at Solid Rock Personal Training, or you can Google us, and you can just click the link on our Google account to give us your information, and we'll follow up with you.
That's it.
Heck yeah. Got those systems in place,
right.
man.
Yep, rock and roll.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for the time, man. I know with the business, the real estate, and 3 kids, man, I'm sure, you are pretty accustomed to low nights of sleep. So man, really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight. This was a lot of fun to talk to you a little bit more, get to know you a little bit more. Man, like Thomas was saying, thank you so much for letting our community, our business get to work with your business, man, because we've got a lot of respect for everything that you do. And I hope you know, man, we even sometimes watch from afar and see the members that you're able to build in the community that you've been able to build, and we take notes sometimes, man, and implement that in our business as well, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man. It's we've got a lot of respect, and man, we look up to you guys in a lot of ways, man. You're running a phenomenal business. So.
Absolutely, man. The feeling's mutual. So appreciate you boys.
Absolutely. What episode is this?
67.
67. Ooh. Episode 67. Well, all right. Appreciate you guys watching. Hi, Mom. I love you. And I don't think I said any cuss words. Maybe one.
I think we got pretty good.
Yeah.
Bye, Tina.